Hey, yo, what's good, man? We are back with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, man. This is episode 28. We've been doing this 28 weeks straight, man. Consistency. We back with another episode. Before we get into that, we're going to introduce ourselves. My name is Showtime Slim. Who else we got in the building?
It's motherfucking Nash Roots in this bitch, a.k.a. Black Roots. Follow me on Twitter at Black_Roots with a Z. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we in this bitch.
All right, man. Small cast today. As of right now, it's just me and Roots. I don't know if anybody else going to roll in, but we're going to take this shit over, Rail. So I'm going to go ahead and give the summary because this is Luno's pick. Bob Celeste, he chose this movie, but he couldn't make it today. So I'm going to go ahead and give like a little short summary of it.
Real quick, shout out to Luno. This is first time missing an episode. This nigga made 27 episodes consistently. Never late, always on time. Nigga always active. Shout out to that nigga.
Shout out Luno, man. It's only one other person that's still standing, nigga. It's me, nigga. 28 weeks strong, nigga. Ain't missed one. I had some shit to do for one of them, but I was able to make it anyway. 28 weeks strong, man. But shout out to the podcast. Shout out to everybody that's been on the episodes with us. Shout out to everybody that helped put this shit together, man. You know, it's really a team effort, bro. We can't do this shit without each other. So salute to everybody that's a part of the podcast. Salute to everybody that's watched the podcast. You know, shout out to everybody, man. We're gonna keep this shit going, man. We over half a year. My bad. We are over halfway to a year. That's how you say that. I ain't never been in this position, so I don't know how to say that. But we're over halfway to a year, man. 7 months. So we're gonna keep this shit going with A Beautiful Mind, 2001. Russell Crowe. And so let me go ahead and give like a little short summary. I'm going to IMDb for this.
All right.
So, after John Nash, a brilliant but asocial mathematician, accepts secret work in cryptography, his life takes a turn for the nightmarish. And that's the simplest way we can fucking describe the shit. Facts. And now we finna talk about it.
Facts. Let's get to the cast first real quick, man. This is actually star-studded for 2001, man. There's a lot of lit niggas that was coming out of the 90s into the 2000s. You got, of course, Russell Crowe. You got Ed Harris, which played Parcher. Not that familiar with him. I'm familiar with his face. Just off the top of my head, I know he was in Apollo 13 because I seen that a while ago. Oh, he was in The Truman Show as well with Jim Carrey. Fire. I don't remember exactly who he was. He's currently, well, not currently because that shit actually ended last year. But Westworld, which was a lit TV show for a little while. Yeah, so that's him. You know, he did his thing. Most definitely.
I don't really know him, but I've heard, like, I know some of the stuff that he was in, but I don't really know him personally. I don't think I've seen a lot of that, what you named. I've heard of Westworld, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, apparently it was lit. It was like, if you were to do like top 5 for like shows, if you were to go like 2015, 16 to about up to last year to this year, it was probably like in the top 5 of shows, kind of right around where what's the name of that shit with the dragons? Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Yeah, I know a lot of people probably put Breaking Bad up there too, huh?
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I still ain't watched that shit. I gotta watch that shit. But next up we got Jennifer Connelly. Yeah, Jennifer Connelly.
Shout out her.
She looking very fine in this motherfucking movie.
Facts.
Even as an old woman, which I feel like they did really well, like with her makeup and whatnot towards the end of the movie. Definitely fire. She was in Requiem for a Dream. I've never watched that.
Requiem.
Yeah, that's
Requiem. How you say it.
Requiem.
Shout out her right there, man.
I've always said it wrong.
How she go?
But yeah, she was in Top Gun along with the last nigga. Attila, that's some lit shit that came out about 3 years ago. She played the voice of Spider-Man's suit, his Iron Man suit in Spider-Man Homecoming. That's dope. You know, so she got a voice acting part out of that. You know, everybody got to get a Marvel check every once in a while.
Thanks.
Next up, we got Christopher Plummer. Now, I'm not that familiar with Christopher Plummer.
Who he play?
He played Dr. Rosen.
Okay.
I'm not familiar with his face much at all. Now, I'm scrolling through his. I'm scrolling through his credits real quick. Okay, he was in Knives Out.
I saw that, but I don't.
I saw that. I think he might have been like the detective. Was he the detective? No.
The detective was the dude that I think that was Sherlock Holmes, ain't it? The dude that played Sherlock Holmes.
The dude that played Sherlock Holmes.
Daniel Craig.
You talking about the old Sherlock Holmes?
Yeah, Daniel Craig was the detective, I think.
Okay. The man who invented Christmas. He played Scrooge. I guess that's lit. I don't know. Yeah, but I'm not that familiar with him. He's in a lot of shit, like of more recent. But I'm not really. Goddamn, say you got 216 credits. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was an old guy in 2001. I'm sure he did a lot of things. So.
Right.
Nigga was old.
Now, shout out Paul Bettany. I don't know how this nigga, he's British or whatever. So I don't know if I'm saying his name right. But we all know him as Jarvis, aka Vision, of course. Thanks. You know, he got the accent going for him and whatnot. I actually enjoyed him in this movie a lot. I think he played an imaginary nigga very well. He got a lot. He actually got a few different credits as Vision, with WandaVision and then all the Avengers stuff, and then they got the TV series What If. He plays Vision in that as well. He got a lot. He got a big ass Marvel check, of course. So, next up, Adam Goldberg. I'm familiar. That's another one I'm familiar with his face, but not his work.
I'm familiar with his name.
Okay, he's in the TV show Equalizer, where they got Queen Latifah, a former rapper.
I seen the first episode of that. I haven't seen any more.
I can't bring myself to watch it. Like, I'm not gonna watch a show that was inspired by a movie by Denzel Washington, because it's not Denzel Washington. So I'm just not gonna watch it. So
Yeah, I mean, so they made we did a review on The Lincoln Lawyer, and they made a Netflix show out of The Lincoln Lawyer. Apparently it's good. I haven't seen it, not intentionally. I just haven't gotten around to ever watching it. But I don't know. Maybe it'd be. I don't know. I only saw the first episode.
If you ever do decide to watch it, I still would not have watched it. So
I watched it by accident. When I watched it was by accident. I think I was watching a Saints game. I'm a Saints fan from Louisiana. Right. I think I was watching the Saints game, and after the game, they just happened to play the premiere of the new show, The Equalizer, with Queen Latifah. And so the TV was on it, and I was watching it for like the first 15, 20, however long minutes. I was just looking at it. But besides that, I never watched it. So I watched it by accident when I watched it.
So more so it watched you rather than you watched it. It just kind of stuck up on you.
That's a fact. What about Josh Lucas? Let's talk about Josh Lucas, man.
Josh Lucas, he is a very familiar face. I've seen him as a lot of shit. However, I can't think of the names of any of it. So I'm going through his catalog.
In the Lincoln Lawyer.
Oh yeah, of course. Actually. Lincoln Lawyer.
Who he was in the Lincoln Lawyer was he was the prosecutor at the end of the movie. Like not the end, but like towards the middle to the end. The one that was trying to get Buddy sent up the river. He was the prosecutor guy.
Okay.
So shout out to him.
Cool. He was actually the coach in Glory Road, which I fuck with Glory Road. Any like older like Disney, it's hard for nigga athletes movies, I fuck with it. I'm a huge fan of Remember the Titans. Invincible isn't as much that, but it's a Disney movie with sports niggas, so I fuck with it. And it's what's his name? Mark Wahlberg, so of course I fuck with it because that nigga the GOAT.
Top 3. He in my top 3 white actors.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to mention, since you said that, I believe this may be our first DreamWorks movie. I don't know if we've ever did. Yeah, I saw from the opening scene, this was DreamWorks, and I don't think we've ever done anything that was DreamWorks on the podcast.
We gotta watch Shrek or some shit, bro.
Yeah, so salute to DreamWorks, man. Very iconic.
Last one that I definitely know his face, Judd Hirsch. He played the first professor at the early parts of the movie. He's an old nigga too. The main thing I know him for is Independence Day. He played the scientist. He played his pops and whatnot. He played a Jewish motherfucker.
Okay.
And it might be a little bit racist to be a good Jewish person and not be a Jew, but that nigga played a good Jew. So
it's acting, man. It's acting. That's all I look at. It's all acting. They let Leo go out there and say what he said in Django, man.
That's a fact. You're right.
Hey, Quentin Tarantino, he used that excuse a lot because he loves saying it in his movies.
We have not. Have we watched the Quentin Tarantino movie yet?
I don't think so. I think we would remember if we did.
I'm gonna suggest one. We got to see some white people say nigga. We got to.
All right, man. So we talked about the characters. Let's talk about the plot for a second. So as I said, like basically it's this it starts out with this college student at like Princeton. I believe he was at Princeton.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a pretty much like a up and coming, like inspiring mathematician, genius, type of person or whatever.
Yeah, he's a smart nigga.
Right. But he was supposed to be, or at least the way he was framing it to us, the smartest of the smart. He thought he was better than everybody else. Even at one point, he was talking about the other students, and he called them lesser mortals.
Yeah,
so he really
that's
thought
when he was drunk on the roof.
Yeah, he really thought he was above niggas. And so I think they did a good job. Russell Crowe did an amazing job, I feel like, in this performance. And partially because I've seen this movie before, I just don't really remember it because when I watched it, I believe I was in some level of school. I was in school when they played it. So I don't remember anything about the movie really, other than the inevitable plot twist we're going to talk about. But Russell Crowe, the last thing I remember seeing him in that sticks out in my mind was I watched Gladiator a couple of years ago.
Right.
And Gladiator came out a year before this movie. Gladiator came out in 2000.
So he was on a high at this point then.
And that's what I was going to say, because the characters between what he played in Gladiator versus what he played here, John Nash, is like two opposite ends of the spectrum. And
range,
I think
nigga.
For him to have that type of range, and he did that a year apart. Well, they released a year apart. It's amazing. Like when you watch Gladiator in 2000 and you see what he's doing in the Coliseum with the swords and fighting niggas, and he's
killing
niggas. Like when you see that and then you turn around a year later and watch A Beautiful Mind that comes out, it's like, yo, this nigga's range is incredible.
Facts.
But I think he did a great job, first of all, playing the original character, which is a overly smart, cocky, genius type of nigga.
Right.
Because that was the beginning of his character. What you think about like how he, before he got to his progression?
Yo, so I was at first, because I've never seen this movie, right? At first I was like, this is like really basic. Like I knew he had some type of mental illness just from hearing about the movie from other people, and A Beautiful Mind. Of course, there's gonna be some mental illness. That's kind of a tell, so watching it at first, and I'm just noticing certain mannerisms. He has a thing where he kind of scratches his forehead whenever he gets nervous, or whenever he starts talking really fast. His walk is really stern and kind of jerky when he walks. He doesn't look people in the face directly when he talks to them. He's always kind of moving around. I was like, this is kind of a basic map for how to play a mental person,
Right.
But as I watched it more and more, I'm like, oh wow, this is like, it took some like real studying. Like it's kind of like when we watched The Accountant, right? And you kind of notice he definitely had to sit and talk with people that are on the spectrum in order to form this character. Whereas with this is based off of a real person. So he probably sat down and talked with him or whatever, but it definitely took more than that. of really getting into character, and I feel like he did that really, really well.
Yeah, shout out to Lights Out Television in the building, man. Salute to Lights Out. But yeah, so like you said, this is based on like a real person. It's based off the real John Nash, and so what I found out was that he did meet with John Nash. However, he didn't originally want to meet with John Nash because he felt like if he would have met up with him and talked to him, it would have kind of like blurred his like creativeness that he could have brought out in the character. I guess he just wanted to form his own like version of the character. But apparently John Nash just pulled up on set one day and he
fired.
Like, he didn't have no choice.
Ran down on that nigga.
He just pulled up, so he had no choice. He had to talk to the nigga. So.
That's fire. That nigga John Nash, real John Nash, gangster as fuck. But nigga, you gonna play me right.
Yeah, because this was a book too, apparently. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. Apparently the movie and the book got a little bit of discrepancies. They always do that for Hollywood,
Of course.
You have to. You gotta change shit. You
gotta embellish a little bit.
Facts. But let's talk about from the very beginning. Like, we see this guy's supposed to be like a genius. He's he's very intelligent. However, he's socially awkward. He lacks like social intelligence. Like he's in the club or in the bar, wherever they was, and he's trying to talk to the woman.
Jesus Christ!
Like they just out trying to talk to some hoes. That's all they doing. And he go up there, talk to the, he talked to the woman, and he don't know what he's doing.
Miserably.
He don't know what the fuck he doing. So, like, you can be as smart as you want to be, John. You don't know how to like socially conduct yourself. And so,
it's funny, but he's like, even though he's acting out of normal, it's normal to him. So he even has his own swag to being a dick towards the girl.
He did it like a overly smart, pompous ass nigga. That's how he was, like, the same way he was acting like he was better than the regular students on campus. Like, he was just talking to bitches like, you don't know what you're doing. Like, he told them, like, he was still being cocky because apparently this ain't the first time they've been in this situation. He told them that his odds of success dramatically improve every time, like each attempt. So
every shot you take, you get better.
Basically what he's saying is like, okay, if I keep going up there and talking to these women, even though like it ain't been going for me before, every time I do it, my odds of success are going to get more, even though that's not true
at all.
It don't work like that, John. and you learned that. He learned it. Because he
what the 5 fingers say to the face.
he walked up there and he sat down. He sat down in front of her, and he just sat there, like, looking, like, not saying nothing. And it was, like, weird. I'm like, you don't know what to do? You don't know what to say? And the woman had to lead him, which is something that we see throughout this movie.
And he did not take the lead correctly at all.
Yeah, she's like, don't you want to buy me a drink or something like that? And then
that nigga said, let's just fuck.
He said that, but it would have been better if he would have just said that. He said it like he said it like a genius would say it.
Yeah,
like, you
females don't like geniuses, bro. Like, especially when you talking to them like a genius.
Yeah, like he talking to these women like he's talking to his professor, but he's saying the same shit you just said. He basically told that bitch, let's just fuck, but he said it like a fucking. In order to have intercourse with you, I don't know what to say, but we talking about fluid exchange. Nigga talk about fluid exchange and shit. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, the fuck are you talking about, John?
That's fucking weird, John. Don't do that.
Hey, hold on, man. Art just joined. Shout out Art in the building.
Hey.
Yeah, my bad. I like when you told me you was going live at 9 o'clock, I was waiting for another notification.
I don't know what you're talking about. I said top of the hour, brother. But we in this, sir. I said top of the hour.
Yeah, right, but I thought you was gonna notify us. But I'm here. What's up,
turn your YouTube notifications on. It pops up.
All right, what's going on?
Yeah, well, basically we just talking about John Nash, his character,
and how he failed miserably.
I remember
talking
that part
to the first bitch.
He pretty much was a fucking incel.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, he was socially awkward, or he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
Everything for him was what fuck.
Yeah, that's man.
Everything was academics with him.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like it's people that really like that though. Like
yeah. And I feel like this is supposed to be like a real life depiction of a person like that. Because like me and Root said, you know, this is based off an actual person. It's loosely based off the real John Nash. So
right.
I guess it's a real life depiction of how some of these people are. Like I wouldn't know.
I know people like that, bro. I know people like that. They got beat up in school.
Bro, that's a miserable life to live. All you thinking about is numbers all day, bro. Like that's just oh my god.
Well, some people love it. You know, I guess if you're passionate about it, you want to be a
they're miserable
mathematician.
people, bro. I hate math. Like I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know nothing above multiplication. I don't know no algebra, none of that shit.
Damn, I don't like math either, bro. But...
once they start putting letters in the math, I stop listening to that
shit. So yeah, like pretty much, like he doesn't have any social skills. He's awkward. So even when he go up and try to talk to the women, he's being himself, and it's just not conducive.
So real quick. So I think the friend group, like the group of smart niggas, played a huge part in like the beginning of the movie. Let's talk about that. What did y'all think of like the friend group that he had?
Yeah, because they're like the. Well, I mean, honestly, they like the normal smart people. Like they wasn't no fucking infatuated with the shit. They was smart.
Yeah. So what you're saying is like he was obsessed, and they were just All of them are at Princeton, so all of them are of that
like
intelligence.
It's people that like I guess they all mathematicians or whatever. It's people that learn that trade or that skill for the sake of using it for something productive in life. He seemed like he was just learning it because he was obsessed with the numbers. Like even though he got a good job, he worked at the Pentagon and all that type of shit. But he really was in obsession with that shit. Like it made him take over his life.
Okay, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, he didn't really care about what he could possibly do.
Yeah, he definitely had that obsessive nature when it came to it because I think one of his partners even told him like the Charles he told him like he basically, you remember when the scene when he got him drunk, he was drinking some shit.
Yeah.
And he like the nigga was so worried about work and everything because he had a paper to do and he couldn't come up with no topic. He wanted something that was completely original, innovative, and he couldn't come up with no topic. The nigga Charles went and pushed his desk out the fucking window. Like, bro, chill out with all that shit. Then he got him drunk. So it's like it's definitely showing that he's overly concerned and focused on math, writing the paper, like
that shit was like causing him to spin out of control, bro. That nigga bashed his face on the goddamn window trying to figure out some numbers, bro.
he fucking bust he was bleeding after he did that shit. Stupid motherfucker.
You gotta think about it, bro. This is before calculators, bro. They had to really write all this shit down. That shit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know when calculators were invented, but
I don't think it's like pre-calculator.
I don't know when calculators was invented.
Calculators.
Bro, that's what I'm saying, bro. This is before calculators, bro. Like,
okay, I'm gonna take your word.
I can't imagine math without calculators, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, but like he was so obsessed, like he was following around pigeons trying to figure out like how it must be an equation, how they move. And the nigga was watching a football game with probably a bunch of niggas that sucked in the first place, playing football, writing on the window and shit, trying to figure that shit out. Nigga had 4 different equations all on this window pane, bust himself in the face with it, and then this nigga Charles just fucking throw a desk through all that shit. Like, hey, bro. It ain't all about the numbers. Let's go get drunk and get some bitches, bro.
Facts. And so if we get back to the bar scene when he talks to it's another bar scene, not the same one. Another bar scene where they all go out again and then they're they see a group of women walk in And all of them want the blonde chick. I guess she's the leader of the group. She's in the middle. Like everybody want her. They don't want none of the other friends. And that's when what's his name? John Nash.
Yeah, John.
She was looking at John and he was like, okay, this is what we got to do. Like, we all got to talk to the rest of her friends and not talk to her. Because if we all talk to her, we're going to block each other and ain't none of us going to. So he came up with the plan like, yeah, we got to talk to all her friends and not talk to her. So all of us can go home and fuck these hoes. Pretty much.
In which that was actually what led him to his like original idea.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what brought him to where he needed to be. He thought about
that nigga seen a bitch and got lit.
Facts. And it worked. He wrote his paper. It worked. He got accepted into MIT. They said you got to bring 2 people with you, and he put his partners on, Saul and Bender. He put them on. The professor wanted him to pick some other niggas. He picked his 2 partners that was hanging out with him the entire time. So he was a real nigga for that.
That's a fact.
Then we skipped to what Art was talking about, the Pentagon. 5 years later, 1953. And
yeah,
so
this nigga walk in dressed like the Men in Black and shit. Motherfucking general pull up. Hey, cuz, we need your help. Come in here and look at these numbers real quick. Figure this shit out so we can stop some shit. Nigga figure out the shit. Hey, this where these niggas going. All right, what's going on? But they close him out immediately right after he do his little job, which is kind of how the military is. They only give you as much as they feel like you need to know.
But before that, what happened was he seen a nigga up there watching. He was asking who the fuck that nigga is. They wouldn't tell him nothing. They wouldn't say nothing. And so, yeah, he get kicked out and shit. And he starts working at the MIT campus. And his partners work there with him, Saul and Bender. They work there too. And so this nigga starts as a teacher. He has his first day as a teacher. He doesn't want to go do it, but his partner tell him he got to go do that shit. So he walk in there with a t-shirt on, not a suit, just a t-shirt. And he don't know what he's doing.
Which you can kind of tell. You mentioned earlier about him doing Gladiator not too long before this. He's kind of still got the Gladiator build, pause if necessary. But he definitely looked like he could like go into a goddamn Lions Den right after teaching that class.
Yeah, facts.
Which I definitely admire that with actors. One other actor I know that did it for sure.
I never admire a nigga build.
I mean, just being able to all right, I need to look like this, and they just do that shit. Like the nigga that played Leonidas did the same thing. You know, that nigga was super skinny as fuck, and then nigga just got buffed out of nowhere and shit. Motherfucking what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. did the same thing. He was filming, I want to say, the second Sherlock Holmes and the second Iron Man at the same time, or some shit like that. But he did the same shit for that.
It's risky doing that type of shit. I think the niggas be on type of like some hormones and shit to be doing that shit so like fast. But it's risky like doing that type of shit too. I remember I think it was Jared.
It was taking wrestler steroids.
Yeah, I think Jared Leto did some shit where he ate he had a gang weed to call like a fat nigga for, and he ate a whole bunch of ice cream and shit like for like weeks, and that nigga got gout from that shit. The nigga got gout, like he almost died. Like, he almost died.
Jesus Christ!
He almost died from that shit. Then he had to get another. Like it was then because he had to for another role. He had to get real skinny right after that. Like,
that's insane.
That method acting shit.
The life of an actor, man. Life of a fucking actor.
I would never be that type of actor, man. You want to take whatever.
Take me how I am, nigga.
I mean, I get it though. I understand.
Yeah, shit. I mean, them niggas getting paid millions, so yeah, shit. They going
right.
Yeah, thanks. And so, like I said, he started teaching. It's a fucking construction group outside constructing and shit like they do, and they making a bunch of noise. What he do is he just go close the window, and he like that's it. He closed the window. You still can hear the shit, but you know he's not finna talk to nobody. I feel like he ain't a confrontational person like that.
Yeah.
He don't got no social skills either.
Yeah, that motherfucking student said, "Hey, it's hot in here, bro." That nigga said, "I don't give a fuck about your comfort, nigga."
That nigga say, "Your comfort comes second to what he said, my ability to hear myself."
You know what's crazy? Like I probably should have said it earlier. like I don't think I would ever be able to be a genius of anything to that extent. Because I feel like to do that, you gotta sacrifice something else mentally to even be able to achieve that type of shit. Like
You're an art
that's
genius, though.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I'm
My
just a nigga
bad.
that know how to draw a little bit.
He said, "My bad."
My bad. Nigga, your
I'm
name
not,
is
bro.
art. I thought you was a fucking genius. Nigga, you
Yeah, I know
named
how.
after the shit.
I know how to draw a little bit, make a couple dollars off my art. That's all. I'm not even. Yeah, I don't
I'll
care
say
about that
something
shit.
about John Nash. Though. The same thing that he just said to that dude when he was like, "Yo, comfort comes second to my ability to hear myself." Something that I noticed with him is he was hoeing niggas from the very start. Like when he got to Princeton, he pulled up on the campus. He was talking crazy to them niggas. Like he told the nigga about his tie. He told the other nigga like you must be used to miscalculation or some shit. Like he using
Yeah.
these smart ass insults at this
You know
nigga.
what that? You know what I was thinking though? Like maybe, maybe it's some type of. He might have been on some type of spectrum too, bro. Like,
I
'cause
mean, he was. He
yeah.
definitely was.
So and that because that comes with it, like that, like just being straight up harsh, not even really meaning it, but that just like
Mhm.
just being honest, like that
Like I
So
could be,
said, the first thing that came in his mind every time.
yeah, yeah. So that might be it. So he might not mean no harm when he do that type of shit.
yeah, well, I just think he just don't know what he's doing. He don't know how to
Yeah,
talk
yeah,
to people.
yeah.
That's
Like
like the same way he didn't mean no harm when he said that shit to that woman, but you don't know how to talk to people, bro. That's not how
right.
you do that. But and so he closed the window and shit, and it's another student. It's a girl. I believe it might have been the only fucking girl in the class because I seen a bunch of niggas besides her. And she walked up and she opened that. Well, she opened that bitch, and she told him, "Hey, we trying to have class in here. That shit loud, whatever." And they stopped. And so that's the first time we get to see this lady who is Alicia. Alicia is a student inside his class. And so fast forward, yeah, him and Alicia, they develop relations for each other. So the fucking professor is fucking the student.
In which out of he definitely 1 for 1 on this. I don't know if him bagging the bitch the way he did kind of ups his stock and whatnot, not in the bagging bitches category, but he definitely did that shit in a fly way. That he just walked up on her. Hey, think of a shape. Nigga
That's not
made the
true at all.
stars into that shape and shit.
You're missing a very critical error there, my brother. He's 1 in 2 on getting bitches in this movie, and he probably like 1 in 80 or some shit because they told us before like the nigga ain't had no
Oh well,
success.
yeah.
And so what happened was he didn't even pull that bitch.
She kind of pulled him.
Every woman in this shit, he didn't know how to talk to him. She asked him. She told him, like she was in the office or whatever, and she was trying to talk to him, and he told her whatever he told her, and then she was just standing there. He was like, "Well, you still here?" Like he wasn't really trying to. She asked her, "Hey, can I take you out to dinner, or do you want to take me out to dinner, or some shit like that?"
Yeah.
She proposed that. If it was up to him, he wouldn't have did shit. He wouldn't have never got with this bitch. Like that's just how he is. Like he's that type of nigga.
I mean, but
Yeah, but
it is kind of it might be a bigger flex that she approached him though. You feel me?
facts.
I don't think it is. I
You
don't
don't
think it
think so?
is. No, I think he's very passive. He's very passive, and he kind of let life happen to him. Like I
Yeah,
said.
but how many niggas you know that bitches just walk up to them?
But that's because he can't walk up to them and get them himself. So this is the problem, Roots. He's tried to walk up to a lot of hoes. Ain't none of them go. So one out of the
hold on.
Hey,
Even
1
in
out
the,
of
so
the
we
80,
saw
bro.
three. We saw 3 in the movie, right?
We
the
saw
blonde.
3.
The blonde
We
was
saw
clearly,
3.
The blonde was clearly on him. The first girl, and then this one, Alicia, right? So all of them was giving him the eyes. Every single
Yeah,
one
he
of them.
just no, yeah, you're right, but he don't know. So the first girl that slapped him was giving him the eyes, and then when he walked up and started talking, that shit was dead. Just because he walked up and started talking.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like you said, the second girl was giving him the eyes. If he would have walked up and started talking to her, I feel like it would have been the same way. And they told us apparently it was more women before that. He say every time he tried, his success rate gonna keep going up. That means you done failed a few times before too, brother. I don't know how many. I'm gonna say 80. What y'all say? I say 80.
80? Damn.
I think it was 80 hoes. He got one.
You think that nigga walked up and got slapped 80 times, guy?
I don't know about got slapped. Like he got some water poured in his face one time. The other time she just walked off. Like she called her brother one time.
I don't think he had the. I don't think
She called her blood brother.
She called her brother up there.
She said that nigga got beat up. That's a whole lot of failing, bro.
He told her brother. Well, the probability of he started talking like T.I. I found myself in a canoe.
I feel that you're gonna beat my ass expeditiously.
That's who John Nash is, man. Like, salute to him, but I can't give him that much credit. She was the aggressor. She was the leader in that situation.
Hey man, but she fine. So I mean, he pulled a bad one, or a bad one pulled him. You know,
shout out her.
Yeah, man. I think we all agree that life would be easier if it wasn't just if we
pulled up.
Just
straight up, and to pull it up on you.
Nobody likes rejection.
So like y'all said, like she liked him, and so he told her the same shit, pretty much the same shit he told the other bitch about how he just wanted to have sex.
For that shit.
Yeah, she was with it because she liked him. She actually liked him. And so they developed their relationship and shit. And then what else we get, man? Charles pulls back up. We see Charles and he has his niece pull up to John while he's sitting outside doing more work as he always does. His niece pulls up and she like talking to him. He like, do I know you? Who the fuck is your uncle? And it's his old roommate Charles. And they reconnect and shit. Meanwhile, this nigga John has been sent on a mission to kind of like decode different codes and shit there. They think the Russians are supposedly
moving a bomb into the states and shit.
Yeah, and they're communicating with each other through codes and like periodicals and magazines and newspapers. So this guy Parcher, he was the guy, mysterious nigga that was up there watching in the Pentagon.
Yeah,
and he tell John, hey man, you got to help us with this shit, And John, he agrees to help stop the Russians or whatever the fuck. Something that I liked was they had a car chase and a shootout kind of scene, kind of.
Yeah.
I thought that was a break from the slow pace.
Yeah.
Academic math, girl courts boy thing. They actually had a little bit of action there.
You know what that scene taught me? Every relevant nigga gotta have a little bit of beat a nigga ass in him, bro. Because that nigga was shook, bro. He was absolutely petrified in that car chase. Nigga said, grab the gun. I'm not shooting nobody.
He did say that.
Nigga started blowing that bitch out the back window. Nigga shook. Scared as hell, bro. Nigga shook at every shot.
Hey, Roots, the boy started looking out all the windows. And, like, he got home. Like, his girl came in the room. She had the light in the hall. He's like, why would you do that? Why would you turn the light on? Like, what?
That nigga was shook out his life, bro. Bro, even before that, when he came home from the car chase, the nigga locked himself in the room and did the slow slide down the wall and shit. Anytime a nigga do a slow slide down the wall, it's some fucked up shit he just.
And she banging on the door. John, talk to me.
In which I hate when bitches do that. I hate. Look, bitch. I'm going through some shit. You clearly cannot help me right now. I need to be by myself for a minute. Go fucking, I don't know, fucking read a book. Leave me alone for a minute.
Yeah, man. So pretty much it's all this shit going on now. Since John is on his secret mission, he think that the Russians are after him and, all of this shit. He's not telling nobody what's going on. He's not telling his friends. He's not telling his wife. And so we get to a point where he's on stage somewhere, and I believe he's giving a
He was
speech. I
giving a
don't know.
lecture. He was giving a lecture.
Yeah, he was at Harvard. Yeah, he was at Harvard, and he was giving like a lecture. And he see these niggas walk in, and he gets shook. Like he don't know who these niggas is, but they look like some imposing ass niggas, bro. They walk in, you know, the niggas that walk in with suits and shit.
Yeah,
Like,
the motherfucking black trench coats, top hats, all that shit.
yeah, so he see them niggas while he giving the speech, and he get the fuck out of there. Like he don't finish the speech, he get the fuck out of there, nigga.
That nigga dip.
And it's a fucking chase scene, and he finally gets stopped by the henchmen. We always talk about the henchmen, but the henchmen they be stopping niggas.
Yeah,
So,
but he socked the main nigga. We saw another white nigga get socked in his shit.
Was it Dr. Rosen?
Hell yeah, Dr. Rosen
Yeah,
got socked in his motherfucking jaw. he socked the doctor. Motherfucking henchman run up. He juke him real fast, jump over the rail. That nigga was gone out of there if they had them extra niggas around.
There's been a lot of people getting punched in the face in these movies.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
And it's always a white man getting punched in his shit.
Hey man, I can't complain about that.
And so he get captured by Dr. Rosen and them, and pretty much they tell his wife, yeah, John got schizophrenia. He's seeing all these imaginary people and shit. Ain't no record of these people. He didn't have no roommate when he was at Princeton. So he was like, he told her about the secret missions and all this shit. And this nigga ended up having to get shock therapy treatment and shit.
Right.
This nigga fucking cut his arm up while he was in like the padded, was it the padded room or wherever he was at?
Yeah.
He cut his fucking arm looking for the implant that.
But hold on, this was after the fact, and this is why I fuck with movies like this. They show you everything that they want you to see without you fucking noticing it. And so at this point, they right before that, his wife comes with all the packages and whatnot that he's been dropping off to this abandoned building and shit, broken ass gate, the motherfucking speaker. The whole time we thinking he walking up to some sophisticated shit.
And they show us what it actually
gate got a door code and shit like that. You walk up, she walk up, it's a fucking broken speaker right there. The gate swinging just by itself, no lock on it or nothing. The motherfucking the mailbox shit is just an old ass mailbox with all these motherfucking envelopes and shit. She walked up with that. He just, and they say this thing a lot whenever they talking about a schizophrenia. Like if you run them into reality too fast, they'll completely they'll just shun it. They'll completely push it out.
Right.
Which is what kind of forced him to. I know there's something. The fucking shit they put in my arm. So this nigga go and bite his fucking arm open, and now he looking through his shit, trying to find this shit that was never there.
Yeah, and I think something about what you just said with the scene where his wife went to the spot. What it was, I feel like they showed us from the John's perspective, we saw what was going on, and so that's the delusion. And then when his wife came around, what they did was they showed us the reality of the situation.
Right.
And so we was looking through John's eyes from the beginning of the movie up to this point. And so what he was seeing, we were seeing. Now, when his wife goes to that same spot, we see, that shit wasn't even actually real.
Right.
This is a fucked up, abandoned ass place.
And then they show you all of the you notice that what's his roommate's name again? The Charles. Imaginary nigga. You notice that Charles is never there when other people are around interacting with him. He's always, anytime Charles is around, it's just him and Charles. It's never in a public space where there's a lot of people around. These niggas always sitting by themselves. Same thing with the niece and shit. Same thing with the Parcher. There's never any other people. Even they kind of hinted to it a little bit when John had the conversation with Parcher, like, man, I can't do this shit no more. Shit got me shook. And then Parcher was like, if you stop working for me, I stop working for you. And the nigga walked down the hallway. John start yelling down the hallway, and goddamn Wheeler step out like, bro, you good? Because ain't nobody in the hallway.
Right. So yeah, I think and that's why I think like the fucking acting in this movie was really good to me.
Facts.
From Russell Crowe mostly. His wife, I think she did a great job in this too. Pretty much everybody. I don't think nobody was just ass when it came to the acting. Like Charles was good. The other guys like Saul and those Hanson, like they were good for side characters. Like for side characters, they did good. The Hanson guy, he was kind of like a good kind of guy that looks like a villain almost from the beginning of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of the guy that's opposing John, like his competition for a while. I think he did a good job with that.
And so, that's kind of talking about the Josh, what's his name?
Josh,
what's his face?
Yeah.
Talking about the he was a friend, but he was a dick at the same time. You talking about him, right?
Yeah, like, but when they were in college, it seemed like he was just more of a dick, and
yeah, in which he plays that part a lot. He plays just like a dickhead a lot.
Yeah, he's good at it. So, basically, we realized that John is sick, like they say in the movie. They called him sick. He has schizophrenia. And this is like an hour and a half into the movie, maybe. So there's still like another hour of the movie to go. And so it's like, okay, where is this going? Basically, what it did was we saw the progression. We saw John's progression. Then we saw him kind of relapse. He stopped taking his medicine. And then it's like a journey. The last half of the movie is like a journey. Him trying to deal with the schizophrenia, trying to overcome it, him falling back into it. That's pretty much what they did for the entire last hour of the movie.
Right.
What do y'all think about how they did that? Because I feel like the pacing kind of went a little slow with this movie because of that. Like 30 minutes in is when they first introduced the girl. Then maybe like 30 minutes to 45 minutes later is when they introduced that he's schizophrenic. So it's like it kind of went slow, and the last half of the movie was like we already knew what he was. It's just like a journey at that point.
In which I think that part it kind of went fast. Just as soon as you seen that he ain't been taking his meds in a while, this nigga starts seeing shit. You know, he's seeing motherfuckers running outside the house. He chased niggas out the house to the forest and shit. It's a bunch of imaginary niggas with guns pointing them at him. Fucking Partridge walk up this big ass stick for some fucking reason, telling this nigga he got to work.
If I didn't already read the premise before I watched the movie, bro, like you said, that movie was smashed. I would have thought this was a long, like, boring ass movie. Yeah. Like I thought it was just a regular ass math movie that was boring as hell that you were watching in fucking school or some shit.
I did watch it in school.
That's crazy.
I don't remember it, but I did watch it in school. I just don't remember what grade.
Like, but no, like, if anybody know like how is it like a hereditary thing, or can you just get it? If you can just get it, and not like it's his fault that he got it.
I don't know if it's partially hereditary, but I do believe it's something that you can just get. It might be hereditary too.
Yeah, it's his fault. He got that shit now. Thinking about numbers all the time, bro.
No way, this nigga. Yeah, but sometimes it's just from there may be some other things in your life that contribute to it. At one point his wife says, stress triggers the hallucinations. And this nigga might have just been stressed to be the best his whole motherfucking life, and it broke his fucking brain.
And I'll say something that they showed what kind of made him stop taking the medicine was that he told him like he couldn't do his work, he couldn't help with the baby, he couldn't respond to his wife. And it was the scene right before he stopped taking the medicine. His wife was trying to have sex pretty much. I believe she was trying to have sex with him.
She was definitely trying to get some dick.
Yeah, and so he wasn't really being responsive. He turned over, like he put his back to her. And
I ain't never seen no shit. And I ain't never did no shit like that.
I mean, let me tell you something, bro. Listen, man. I ain't never declined sex.
Especially pushing up on you like that? Hell no. I've never, nigga.
This is why John Nash is who he is, man. John Nash.
There's something wrong. That if there was no sign of there's something wrong with this nigga before that you pointed out, that right there was the fucking sign.
And like I said, it's funny you say that because that is the point where he stopped taking the medicine.
Yep.
Like his wife got up out the bed and she started screaming and broke mirrors and windows. She was breaking shit because he didn't want to fuck her. And so that's the part.
I don't think that was the main reason, bro.
She was frustrated as fuck, boy.
You said
had
she
to be
wanted
some
dick
time.
so bad she broke a mirror, nigga.
It had to be, bro. It's been some time since she got fucked. Like, it's no way, because if it was one night, there's no way she reacting like that if it was one night. It's been some time, John. It's been some fucking time, bro. And she got fed up. She was sick of it. That bitch went in there and broke a mirror, a window,
That's
whatever
crazy.
she broke.
It was a mirror, bro. She went in there, took a sip of water, sat down in the tub, motherfucking threw the cup at the mirror. Mirror broke. Then she punched
I was
that
thinking
bitch and
that she
started
got to be
screaming.
stressed because I don't know about y'all, but I'm not drinking no water out of no bathroom sink. I don't know.
Not out of the
I'm not.
bathroom sink. Out
I'm
of the
not.
kitchen sink, maybe. Definitely not out of the bathroom
She
sink.
got to be stressed. What about you? Are you drink out the bathroom sink?
Hell yeah, man. I don't know what y'all talking about. You get
Okay.
them late, them 3
You
o'clock in the
stressed too,
morning.
then.
I'm
You
You wake
stressed.
up 3
You
o'clock in the morning. That's the
going up
best
there.
water, boy.
you
Hell
stressed
no.
too, then.
I'm from the hood, nigga. I don't know what y'all. I don't know where y'all from.
I'm
Yeah,
from the hood.
I'm from the hood too.
I'm
We
not.
went downstairs
I
to the
lean
kitchen
right.
to
I
get
lean
water,
right over
nigga.
that sink, nigga.
I don't.
Don't you brush your teeth? You
Yeah,
can't,
but
Yeah,
that's a
I don't
fact.
swallow the water though.
Hey, I don't bring food or drinks in the
bro.
bathroom. I
It's
see
the
people do that
same
shit. I
water
don't
from
do
the.
that
Oh
It's
shit.
the
hell
same
nah!
water,
It's
bro.
motherfucking piss and shit particles floating all over the
Yeah,
place.
bro. Like I
Motherfucker,
don't even
you know
do
niggas
none of
don't
that.
niggas hands be dirty before they grab the motherfucking
Listen,
faucet, bro.
listen,
When I
bro. I'm talking about the water from the faucet. I ain't talking about the faucet.
Yeah, all right, bro. That shit gross.
That's
yeah,
the best
man.
shit,
So
man. Mhm.
Alicia was fucked up over this shit, and something that she said later was like, you know, she felt an obligation, or she almost felt guilt too, because it was like she wanted to leave him times, I guess, in the past, but it's like she felt obligated to be with him, and she was like, sometimes she got to look at the baby. When she look at the baby, it bring her back, and she see him as the person that she married, the person that he used to be, and so it's a lot of fucking conflicting feelings going on within her, and pretty much she was very loyal. I'll say that she was very loyal.
Hell yeah. And there was some points where I thought this bitch about to leave, and that's fucked up.
That's a
You
fact.
married this nigga and said for better or for worse, and you definitely about to dip on this nigga. But she stayed, and I thought that was very fire. That shit definitely do not exist today.
Well, Roots, what we passed up was that before he stopped. Well, it was after he stopped, after he stopped taking the medicine. The nigga, she said it was a storm was finna come,
Yep.
and she went outside to get the fucking laundry and shit. They had the clotheslines back then. She got the laundry off the clothesline, and he said he was gonna get a baby a bath. He was gonna run the bath water and shit.
And she was skeptic of that shit, but he was like, "Nah, I got it."
She didn't know that he stopped fucking taking his medicine. So he fucking laid the baby in the tub and then just run the water. And then nigga talking about, no, Charles watching the baby. Charles watching it. Like, nigga, did we tell you Charles ain't real?
Didn't we tell you?
We told you this 20 minutes ago. And then when she got the baby out the tub. It's like, yeah, this nigga fucking tripping. And she go to call somebody on the phone. I forgot who she was calling.
She was calling the doctor. She was calling
the doctor because he was fucking having a relapse. And so he see Parcher. He see the imaginary Parcher pull out a gun. like he better shoot his wife.
Which is crazy. Had he just sat and waited like 5 more seconds, it would have proved everything.
It's because he's delusional. He don't know no better.
That nigga ran down, motherfucker, pushed his bitch and the baby over.
He knocked her and the baby over. That bitch said, "Get away from me." He said, I didn't try to. It was an accident. Get away from me, John.
Fuck out of here, John.
And that's the Bruce. That's the part right there where she really was finna leave. She was finna get the fuck. And then what happened was he sat around. He was thinking about what the fuck is happening. He was seeing the delusions, and then he looked over at his niece, quote unquote niece.
Yeah,
Charles's niece.
And that's when he figured it out. And I thought that shit was so fire, bro. They run you through everything, all of the false realities. And this little bitch ain't never got older. It's been like 10 years since you met this little bitch. And she ain't aged not once. And that's when he figured it out. She don't get old. Whatever it was. It was long enough for her to
pretty
lose
much,
a tooth or something, nigga.
Yeah, she didn't get no older. She was the same age. And he was like, that's when he fucking realized, okay, yeah, she's not real. They're not real. And so he wants help at this point. He's trying to get help. And pretty much what he did, he started he told his wife that like he didn't want to go back to the hospital. He didn't want to go back to the doctor, whoever is, and the doctor that got punched in his face. Doctor punched in the face. I don't remember his name.
Dr. Rosin, bro.
Dr. Rosen. Yeah, him.
Whatever it is.
He didn't want to go back to him because he was like, man, if I go back in there, I ain't never coming back home type shit.
Right.
And so he tried to reason with him. He like, hey, I can come up with a solution. Just give me a chance. Like, give me some time to think of some shit. And the doctor told him like, listen, you can't come up with no solution because the problem is your mind.
Yeah,
your mind is the problem.
It's like trying to fix a leaky faucet with a fucked up wrench, nigga. You can't do it.
Facts. And so pretty much he gets the opportunity though. He gets the opportunity to think of some shit because his wife is loyal as fuck. She's on board with him. She's on what you call it. She's on the same track as him. And she said something like she just want to believe in something that extraordinary is possible or something like that. And so she was right there with him. And so once again, salute to her, Alicia.
Facts.
She never gave up on bro.
She
even though she wanted to. Yeah, and so he he's still going through the delusions. He's having all these problems. At a certain point, he decides, okay, what I gotta do is I just gotta like ignore them. I know they're not real. I just gotta live my life and fuck these delusions.
Motherfucking muscle this shit out.
Facts.
I thought that was I think that was a testament to mental strength. Even though this nigga got schizophrenia and shit, he said, man, fuck these drugs. I ain't taking these shits. I can't fuck my bitch. I can't raise my son. Fuck these drugs, nigga. I'ma just handle this shit. And that's what that nigga did.
And Ruth, that's why I think this movie is not necessarily about the first half of the movie. It's actually about this. It's about like the journey, the redemption, whatever you want to call it. The reason the first half of the movie was what it was is because it was kind of a setup to this. I think this is the main part of the movie that they wanted us to take from. This guy, we know he's crazy midway through the movie, but now we're about to see his journey back to being an esteemed professor, a genius, whatever you want to call him. We about to see his progression back to that. So I think that was the main part of the movie, kind of what you just talked about.
And also, it's like the movie's called A Beautiful Mind. So like, all right, people on the outside looking in that don't know this man, they probably are, this man's a genius. He's a gifted person, but they don't understand the tribulations that comes with living that life. That's why I said earlier, like you got to sacrifice something to achieve that type of intellect.
And kind of like you said, Art, when you said he brought it upon himself types. He probably literally drove himself crazy.
Yeah.
With all that, the shit he was doing.
That's what I'm just, bro. Look, I didn't went crazy over fucking algebra tests and shit. Like that shit ain't.
Imagine if you had to do that shit every day, nigga, all day.
Yeah, bro. With no calculator.
With no calculator. All right, so pretty much not much happened after that. He won the Nobel Peace Prize. Salute to him for that. And then on stage, he's giving this speech and he tells the world that, well, he talks to his wife. He's like, he couldn't do it without her, and pretty much. And all the while, he's an old man that's winning the Nobel Peace Prize. He still sees these delusions. He's just able to overcome it and ignore it at this point. So that's pretty much the movie. I do have some things that I learned about this movie. I always got like the little trivia shit. So this movie won 4 Oscars in 2002. They won Best Picture, Best Actress in a Supporting Role, the Best Director, and the Best Writer.
Damn.
Yeah, so
they won for this motherfucker.
Facts. Who is the director of this?
Directed this shit, Roots.
I got you. Hold on, give me 1 second. Motherfucking Ron Howard.
Oh, Ron Howard! Wow, that nigga did the Grinch.
Fire!
Shout out Ron Howard.
Oh, I done seen this nigga in a few shits.
And so, Russell Crowe, he was nominated for Best Actor. He didn't win. He won like all of the major awards, like the Golden Globes and all that shit. But when it came to the Oscars, he didn't win Best Actor. He lost Best Actor to Denzel Washington, who had just
Fire.
won Training Day.
Fire. The white man won. I mean, the black man won.
This nigga Root still don't.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's still fucking me up to this day.
All right, so Russell Crowe got nominated in 19. So this movie came out 2001. He was actually nominated for 3 straight years for the Oscars.
So I'm guessing he got one for Gladiator too.
Gladiator won, and what was Gladiator also won Best Picture, and so this one won Best Picture too. But in 1999 he was nominated for a movie called The Insider. I don't really know that movie. I know the other two.
The Insider, that's the Spike Lee movie, right? No, that's Inside
Just
Man.
said he don't know.
There's no way Russell Crowe is in a Spike Lee movie.
No
way.
Absolutely not. Not a
why
chance.
you underestimating Spike Lee? Bro?
I don't believe it. You got to show me that movie.
Denzel was in the Spike Lee movie.
Yeah, but
He's a black man.
You think Russell Crowe's
Look, it's
above
contagious.
Denzel?
It's contagious, Slim.
And I just tell you, Denzel Washington beat Russell Crowe.
It's contagious, bro.
He won the Oscar over him. That's why he was in Spike Lee movie. But it's actually some other people that were considered to play this movie too. Play that role, that John Nash role.
Okay.
It's a lot of people, so I'm gonna run through them. Fucking Bruce Willis.
Okay.
Kevin Costner, John Travolta, Tom Cruise, John Cusack, Charlie Sheen, Robert Downey Jr., Nicolas Cage, a lot of fucking people, Johnny Depp, Jared Leto, Brad Pitt, Mel Gibson, Sean Penn, Guy Pearce, Gary Oldman, a lot of niggas, bro.
They wasn't even trying to find a nigga that looked like the movie.
All the white actors.
Keanu Reeves was one of them too, man.
Keanu Reeves gonna be assing it.
Mel Gibson, I forgot about that. Like a lot of people.
Damn.
And so, of course, we know Russell Crowe ends up getting the role. The Alicia and Charles, they got married after this movie got released.
I saw that.
Yeah, so apparently they're a real life couple. Salute to them. Selma Hayek was originally considered to play Alicia because the real Alicia Nash is from El Salvador, so they was gonna get Selma Hayek to play the Hispanic woman. It would have been nice to see Selma Hayek too. It would
have been nice to see anybody not white.
Well, damn. Well, I mean, shit.
Was there any? Tell me this, Slim. Was there any black people in this movie at all?
No, but it was also before the civil rights movement. So
yeah, you're right.
I get it. They probably wasn't letting them into Princeton. I don't know.
Damn, John Nash might have been racist. That's crazy.
And so also in real life, he only had auditory hallucinations. He didn't have any visual hallucinations.
So he just heard shit.
I said hallucinations.
I think it's around the same shit.
I don't think hallucinations is nothing. But yeah, he only heard things. He didn't see things. But
that might be worse.
Well, obviously it's a movie, so you have to have visual shit in a movie.
Yeah,
I don't think it would have been
spice it up a little bit. It definitely wouldn't have been as it wouldn't have done the nightmare justice.
Yeah, because if we would have just heard people and not seen the Charles and not seen the little girl,
we'd have clearly known that he was crazy.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been good, I don't think either. And last thing I gotta do here is it's a list of things that they left out of this movie, because this movie is inspired by the life of John Nash, but there were certain things that they left out on purpose. And so apparently him and Alicia, they was married and then they got a divorce.
Damn.
And some sources say they got remarried, while I seen other sources say they didn't get remarried, but he moved back in with her like years later or whatever. And then apparently I think they both died in like 2015 or something like that. Somewhere around there, they was in a taxi cab or something, and the cab ran into like a guardrail and a second car, and the
government
flew out the car or some shit like that. So
the government killed
them.
Well,
I mean, they didn't leave that out. That happened way after the movie.
Well, nah, I didn't. I was just mentioning that. What they left out was the marriage thing that they was in. And so, because what they showed us in the marriage was, I mean, in the movie was that they was together the entire time until they got old. Apparently, that didn't happen. Apparently, they got a
the
divorce.
real Alicia wasn't a down ass bitch like we thought she was. Crazy.
Yeah, I don't know the situation. Also, this guy John Nash had several affairs with men and women in the past.
Damn.
Yeah, and I think it was some criticism over that because he had like some gay escapades that were left out of this film, and I think some of the gay community might have had an issue with him not being portrayed like that way. But it was definitely a scandal. He got arrested for a scandal where it was indecent exposure in a male bathroom. So I don't know what he was doing naked in the male bathroom. But according to him, he denies all the gay rumors and all the allegations.
Of course he does.
But that's out there. And he had
all right, enough of slandering this nigga name, man. Shit.
Well, yeah, he had a lot of shit going on. Yeah, so shout out John Nash, whoever you are.
Whatever you are.
With that being said, like shit, let's go ahead and get to the final thoughts and the ratings, man.
Hey, yeah.
I'll start with myself. So I think this movie was pretty good. I wasn't really so I had seen it a long time ago to the point of where, what the fuck is that?
I dropped something.
Is that Alicia?
That nigga in the car with John Nash and that car chase, bro.
That's Alicia banging on the door. Nigga, open the door. This nigga already sitting in the corner crying.
Sliding down the wall and shit.
But yeah, I think it was a pretty good movie. I saw it a long time ago to the point where I don't remember anything really, but I did remember the plot twist of him being crazy or something like that. But I think it was a pretty good movie. I wasn't that eager to watch it, but it was better than I expected. I don't necessarily like slow-paced movies, but I think maybe Russell Crowe's acting kept me engaged more. He did a great job. I gotta say that once again. Him and his wife, they all did a great job. The plot is pretty good. I get it from the perspective of a movie about like a redemption story type thing. Like Art said, if it would have just been like a math movie, then it's like, nah, this shit is. But I get what they was trying to do with it. They threw in the plot twist in the middle, that he's crazy, which is something that actually worked. You know, it worked when they did it in Shutter Island. They threw it at the end, but they threw it in the middle here, and I think it still kind of works because even though we know he's crazy, for the next hour we get to see him struggling with the schizophrenia. Like it's open now, and we know what's going on. Now we get to see him struggle with it. So the plot was good. I think 2001, it was shot pretty well, especially because they was trying to portray like an older time period, the late 1940s to it might have ended in it went through the 50s. I don't know if it ended in the 60s.
I think it might have ended in the 90s.
It might have, yeah, because he was an old ass man. Yeah, it might have ended in the 90s. Okay, so yeah, I think for what the setting that they tried to portray was pretty good. Overall, I give this movie an 8. I probably wouldn't watch it again because it's just not my pace. Like it's not my speed. I could say it's a pretty good movie. It's just too slow paced for me. I wouldn't normally watch something like that slow pace and nothing's going on, just a bunch of math and writing on chalkboards and shit. But you know, I think it's a good movie overall. So I give it an 8.
Yeah. All right, I'll go next since my phone might die. But like what Slim said, it was really slow paced. Like I was pretty much forced myself to watch it for the most part until the third act. Acting was good. Everything else was good. Setting was good. I don't really got much bad to say about the movie other than the fact that it just wasn't my type of movie. But yeah, I'll give it a 7.8.
Yeah, man. I probably would have never watched this movie had it not been suggested. That being said, I'm glad I watched it. I was actually struggling throughout the week of whether or not I was gonna watch this shit. Just being honest. But then I got to today and like, you know what? I got time. Fuck it. And I enjoyed the movie. Like, it was definitely slow at the beginning, but I feel like they were putting out information the whole time. So that part is what kept me engaged, especially with the acting and whatnot. You know, very good acting. I don't think anybody did a bad job acting. Maybe that little girl, maybe she could have been more a little girly. I don't know, but yeah. I don't really have a problem with this movie. It was shot very well. You know, like I said, the pacing is slow, but it picks up after the first hour, which is crazy to say. But I feel like they you know they definitely kept your attention up until that point, and then at that second half of the movie, you were like kind of on the edge of your seat trying to figure out, you know, is he gonna beat this shit? And he finally did. So I feel like I feel like with them leaving the certain things out, they have to kind of make for a good ending. Because if it ends how it did in real life, you know, around that time, niggas probably not gonna fuck with it like that. But because they did it like that, you know, that keeps the audience, you know, interested and not just sad, you know, depressed and shit. So, you know, I think that it was excuse me, it was definitely meant to be a feel good movie. You know, with him being able to overcome his, you know, schizophrenia, which he kind of didn't. You know, these niggas haunted him for the rest of his fucking life. But, you know, he was just able to muscle them niggas out. And they was just sitting over there with the pout face while this nigga over there winning and shit. So, you know, I fuck with it. But overall score, definitely had to take off points for the length of the movie and with the pacing. But with that being said, I think I'm gonna give this an 8.5.
All right. With that being said, man, final score. Wait a minute. For A Beautiful Mind, we have a 8.1 rating. Salute to Beautiful Mind, man. Salute to Russell Crowe. Pretty good movie. With that being said, I have the honor of having the next pick for next week. And I got a lot of different movies that I was considering because I've had a fucking list since we started doing this. I got a lot of movies that I'm considering. However, I've decided to get back to my roots, man. Pause.
Oh, Jesus.
Not you, roots, me, roots. I decided to get back to my roots, man. And so I'm a natural thriller kind of guy. Thriller is my shit. Thriller, mystery, all that shit. That's me. That's what I'm into the most. First time ever having this person on the show. We got Jason Bateman, Rebecca Hall, and Joel Egerton. And I wanted to choose a movie that I felt like a lot of people haven't seen. And so what I got for next week is the 2015 movie starring Jason Bateman, The Gift, 2015.
Fire. I never heard of it.
Yeah, I figured. So
Is it a Christmas movie?
it's a Christmas movie.
This nigga.
It's not a Christmas movie.
I fuck with Jason Bateman though. He's been a lot of shit that I fuck with.
But yeah, we'll be back next week, man, with another episode of the Real Rap Coalition podcast, and we are out.
Oh, this is actually on. I think this movie is on Netflix, and
Hey, Roots,
I was gonna watch it.
Don't leave yet. I gotta restart so I can end this shit.
The fuck?
This shit tripping again.